Garrett Fry, the construction site sequence lead for 3D digital map painting, and we're taking a look at shot 1450. So if we take a look at this shot, we're going to start here on the left and pan over to the right. So let's go ahead and go to the head of the shot there. And in this shot, we have some open areas that we're going to want to put things into. So we have this area right here and little areas peppered throughout because there's already some equipment there. So it'd be kind of cool to put those in between those elements that were already in the plate. And then we have this area over here and this area over here and then down on the cement slab. So as you're putting these things in, just be aware that you're putting them in a way that makes logical sense and that can tell a little bit of a story. And so you can see down here, this is where they're storing all of the wood. And so putting more wood piles over here would make logical sense. You can see that, there's another storage area here, but then also that, these two pieces of construction equipment are sitting here, and that's where they're parking the equipment. So if you can come up with like a little story narrative to explain why you're putting things down there the way you are, then that helps out a lot with the shot making sense logically when people look at it, but then it helps you in your decision making about where to put things. So in this shot, we have a kind of an overcast lighting scenario to this. There's not, any real direct lighting from the sun. And so all of the visual cues that you would rely on in a direct sunlight scene, you don't have here. So like big shadow shapes and a light side and a shadow side and all that kind of stuff doesn't really exist here, except there are contact shadows. So there's this shadow right here you can see underneath this wood pile. And then actually if you notice, there's a little bit of a dark shape underneath all of these things. And that's because the sun or the sky is kind of filling in the light to this shot, and it's actually causing just a little bit of shadow shapes underneath these objects. You can see it with this big piece of equipment down here. It's just a little bit darker around the edge. So there's two different kinds of shadows. There's this kind of like ambient occlusion shadow, and then there's like these contact shadows that happen there. So there's those things, if you think about them specifically when you're putting your objects in your scene, then it helps out a lot. You say, hey, I'm going to put in my contact shadow, and then I'm going to put in this little occlusion shadow, and that helps your objects sit into the scene. Before you jump into your shot, it's a good idea to review the library of construction site materials. Do a bunch of quick matte painting tests by dragging photos into your shot and doing quick integrations. You will soon be able to discern the appropriate reference you should use for your shot.